Well, we're back and I haven't been on for 2 or 3 weeks, and we're so happy to be back.
We are.
We have a wonderful guest today, and Simone, please introduce her.
Well, it's my honor to introduce her. She has been a great mentor to me and teacher, and I've learned so much from Helene Rothschild through the years. I don't know how many years it's been, Helene, but it's been a long time. And I just keep going back because her wisdom and her intellectually, intuitively, analytically, spiritually, talking about the physical body. I've never met a teacher that is as powerful and empowered as Helene in the best of ways, because it's all about love for her and inner peace. She's the author of so many books and posters that have gone around the world. She's a workshop leader. She's the creator of an incredible form of healing called HART, Holistic and Rapid Transformation, that I've gone through, but also I use in with my own clientele. And she's been on CNN. I mean, she's been all over the board. She's a great public speaker. People love to have her as guests, and her self-mastery program is one of the leading ones in the United States. So I feel proud and very honored to have Helene here with us today. So welcome, Helene.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all that you shared.
Well, it was easy. It's easy to talk about you in the highest way. And I guess I know so much about your personal history from your wonderful books. And but I'd like you to talk a little bit, if you would, about how you came to this place of inner peace and this incredible connection you have to spirit that you're bringing to all of us.
Sure. I was brought up in a normal dysfunctional family, meaning average, and that it wasn't their fault. I mean, they learned from their parents, and you learn from their parents, and the dysfunctionality passes on. But then I decided I was a great athlete, and so I decided to become a health ed teacher, and I have a bachelor and master's in science, never knowing I'd become a therapist at that point and use the mind-body connection, knowing the body inside out. And I loved teaching, but I didn't care for the discipline. And the students would come to me in high school and with their problems, and I knew how to help them. And I don't know how I knew, because I wasn't trained. And my friends would come to me with their problems and say, "How do you know what I feel?" I go, "I don't know, but I do." So I didn't even know I was intuitive yet. And after a couple of years, I decided, I want to become a therapist and do what my other gift is. So I couldn't go to school in Brooklyn, New York. I had 2 little girls, and I couldn't take the train at night after teaching. So I traveled around the country, and I discovered my perfect school, which was Santa Clara University, right here in the Bay Area. And I took a master's in marriage and family counseling. And for 40 years, I've been a licensed marriage and family therapist, still not knowing yet that I was intuitive. When I first came here to San Jose area, there was a big spiritual community. And I fortunately got connected with them, and I started going to workshops. And we took a workshop on intuition, and I discovered I was intuitive. And then we did another exercise once in one of my Santa Clara classes, and someone said, "You're spiritual." I go, "What's that?" And so I just started to read about it. And there were some great books out there. And I started to realize the gifts and what spirituality really is. And then I started channeling in 1987. And that, I knew they were there. My guides were there, intuitively giving me information. Mm-hmm. But when they were in my body, I knew they were there. Mm-hmm. So my trust and faith level went sky high. And I've been teaching that since 87, because it's the ultimate trust and faith when you feel them in your body. Your mind can't deny it anymore.
That's right. That's right.
It does.
Yeah, and when I hear trust and faith, I always think of you when I think of the term a trust walk, because you've taught me so much about that. And I just want to speak to that for a minute, because you, more than anybody I've ever met in my life, have embodied a trust walk, in that, gosh, your travels, your adventures, when Spirit has asked you to do something, you're just so devoted. You go and you do, and you show up and you teach what you believe you're here to teach. And I've never met anybody like you before. I really have never met anybody that actually goes and does it again and again and again to areas you never even knew before. Like you went to Australia, didn't you, at one point?
Australia, I was, yeah, the guides told me I was in Carmel Valley in a beautiful apartment. And they said, sell everything, go to Australia. I go, you got to be kidding. I don't want to go to Australia. And I did. And I wrote a book about it. It's called Angel on Call. And I did a walkabout with the angels as one of the chapters. Like, well, why am I here? Where do I belong? But see, I had such trust and faith that the angels and guides and God were with me. That's how I can do it at 65. Just sell everything and go to Australia. I didn't even know anybody there. And it's a magical story what happened. It's been pretty phenomenal. And then my guides took me to Hawaii. I saw this bunny rabbit on my meditation, and I was jumping from one island to the other. Well, sure enough, for 10 months, I lived in all 4 islands, bunny hopping. And wherever I went, I was serving people. I was also serving people here in the mainland by telephone. It's amazing technology. And then I was brought back.
And Sedona.
Yeah, that before that, they were sent to Sedona for 10 years. And that was a lot of healing I did in Sedona.
Yeah.
And my guide said, you're going to Sedona. And I said, why? And they said, because there are people there who help you, and the people there you will help. And that's exactly what happened. Because, the healers have to heal themselves.
Yeah. And you've taught me so much about that, between the, what you call the basement and the higher levels, and why so many healers are great spiritually, but they're not great emotionally, not very healthy emotionally. And I was there, but I did a lot of work with Helene. And, I think it seems easier to take things just to become spiritual, versus doing the inner work. And HART is just the most phenomenal therapy that I ever went through. And I've had tons of therapy in my life, but this is so different. Can you talk a little bit about HART?
Yeah.
So people know?
If you picture a house, the attic is your intuition, your higher self, your spirit. And that's who you really are. The first was a conscious level where we are now, and the basement's the unconscious. So there's no problems in the higher conscious up in the attic. But if you keep going there and you haven't healed what's in the basement, your self-esteem is low, you still have a lot of trauma to heal, you'll keep crashing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the heart therapy actually was given to me intuitively. It's an amazing process that keeps me going for 40 years. My success rate is so off the scale. And what's so great is I can teach it. Yeah. And I have students like you who are able to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I love those classes that I took in HART with you. They were so incredible. And the people that you drew, it was like a tribe. And it was, everybody was so connected and so connected to spirit when we were with you. Well, we are all the time anyway, but we really were conscious of it when we were with you. And it's just an incredible experience to go through that whole program. It's fantastic.
Everyone transforms in the training, and I do independent studies now, obviously, because to me, spirituality is living from love, trust, and faith. Mm-hmm. You can't do that if you're still in a lot of fear, which is the basement. So as a therapist, I take clients and the students down to the basement to heal whatever they need to heal very quickly in the heart process. Mm-hmm. And then I take them to the heights of their spirituality. And that's what I had to do.
This thing about trust and faith, I would say that most people I know have lost a lot of trust and faith, or think they have, for the last couple of years, and what's been going on, with suffering, et cetera, on the planet. And I wonder if you'd speak to that, how people can reconnect and remember who they really are.
Yeah, well, I teach people how to clear their fears, and the processes are in my books. but there's only fear and love. And I get scared sometimes, and there's times too. And what I use is my same tools to shift myself back into a love state. And what I do automatic writing, which I teach too. I just sit down and I make sure that I'm clear and I have a clear connection, and the spirit just starts writing. And they say to me, it's okay, this too shall pass. And I say, what do I do? Just keep being in your love space, because when you're in a fear space, you're spreading more fear. And when you're in a love space, that love is the healer. You're actually doing a service to the planet and the people.
Well, you have a lot of courage that way. You've stayed.
Courage is doing something even though you're scared.
Yeah,
but
well, that's you. That's the embodiment of you, I would say. And it's thrilling to be around it, because it gives such permission to all of us to do that. And especially right now, I would say we're in such an incredibly interesting, fascinating time, and how to stay with yourself and in peace during this time. That's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, what I learned from my guides is that it's breakdown before breakthrough. And so in order for people to grow, I noticed they often have to have a breakdown, like a divorce or a car accident or an operation. And then they work on themselves, they have a breakthrough. They heal a lot of things that they needed to let go of, so they can be more spiritual. So that's what this is. It's a world breakdown before breakthrough.
That's powerful. Dorothy, do you have something you want to say?
Well, she just took the words out of my mouth. It's because it is the planet itself, and in this country, I won't say in particular, but for the sake of this show, I'll say in particular. And I think COVID is the fear, and has there been a breakdown? One would say, and there will be a breakthrough. We just don't know when.
Ready. Yeah,
exactly.
It's right now.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things people need to wake up to, as I did, because I'm 80 now, but I am healthier than I was 40 years ago.
Helene?
I had to learn how to eat right, and what to drink and what supplements to take, because our food is not always as nutritious. How to shift from fear into love. How to have no chemicals in my house, no chemicals on my body, which poisons us. So I learned how to eat healthy and live healthy. Besides emotional, I'm holistic. You have to deal with the body, the physical body too, and appropriate exercise. So people, all you have to do is go on the web. There's so much incredible information. And when I have a problem physically, I don't go to a doctor. I go on the web and I go to my intuition and I solve it myself.
Well, that's because you trust your intuition.
Yes. Now that's a key. Everyone has intuition. It comes with human package. I tell people, listen, I listen to KGOD, and they go, I don't have that station. And I go, yes, you do. It's God's station, and it comes with the human package.
It's so incredible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We listen to people talk like this sometimes, but they're not living it. This is someone, y'all, who lives it. It's so thrilling to be around it, even if we don't always agree, but we almost always agree. It's so amazing because, I feel like I'm a good teacher. Dorothy, you're a really good teacher. But I don't know. You just surrendered, Helene. You surrendered.
I think she walks her talk.
Yeah, and that was my commitment. I said, I want to live congruently. Mm-hmm. And I made it, and I put that as my goal. I said, I want to clear my fears and live love. It's easy to write about love, to talk about it, to speak about it, but to live it is a whole nother experience. And my angels actually helped me do that. They stopped my practice many years ago, and I said, you're going to now live it. Yeah. They said, you have hammock duty. I go, but what do I do? You have hammock duty.
What do you mean when you say cosmic partnership?
Okay. Cosmic partnership is when I help people connect to their guides and angels. We all have guides and angels, and they need us to carry out the missions. For example, they're up there, and so they need me to ground what I'm sharing right now.
Mhm.
Tell me this, if you're working with someone and let me come down here, when you're working with someone and you talk about guides or angels and someone says, well, I don't really subscribe to that idea. What do you do with them? I don't mean to convince them, but to open up their consciousness a little bit.
Okay, so I explained that the left brain is like a computer, and right, it can't go there. It's on this third dimension. When we connect with our guides and angels, we have to go to the fifth dimension or higher, which is pure love. And I say, close your eyes and let's see what we can do. And I just guide them. And it's in my book, Angel on Call, how to connect with your guides, how to have clear intuition,
Mhm.
how to clear and protect yourself, because everything's energy. And I worked with a client recently that was a wreck. And I said, you need to clear your energy. And so she went back to the book because she had taken some courses with me. And she wrote me the next day, I feel so much better. So everything is energy. We're affected by other people's energy, by our own thoughts. So I learned how to, and I share it. I share it all, how to clear yourself, how to protect yourself, how to connect with your guides.
It's very important work.
Very important work. It transforms. I teach spiritual master trainings, and the Angel on Code book is the textbook. And everyone who's taken it, just they lit up like Christmas trees. And I feel such at peace because whatever happens, I don't have the answer, but I get quiet and I listen, and I have the answer. And we all are like this.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
love that about your work too, because you help us find our own answers. It's not about you giving us the answer. It's much more empowering when it comes that way than when it's.
Yeah. We just guide you to your answers. We don't give you answers because that doesn't empower you. So
Right.
I do very short-term therapy because I give you the tools and help you get your own answers and trust yourself.
Mhm. You sure do. Why did you, what is a spiritual master and what happens in your spiritual mastery program? What is that all about?
Well, the first thing, if you have any fears of success, meaning a part of you wants to live spiritually, but another part is scared, I have to help you clear the fears. And that is always the case. So one client said, well, I'm afraid then people will think I'm weird. And so we cleared that. Or a lot of comes from past lives. 9 million of us were burned at the stake as witches, quote unquote, because we were alternative healers or spiritual or psychic. So that comes up a lot. So I developed a heart process to help clear those. And then I just help them get really peaceful, and I guide them through the process of meeting their guides. And it's so funny sometimes they come out of it and say, how do I know I'm not making it up? And I said, you can make up a million things. How come you made that up? But you see, heart works and the guided visualization works in the same consciousness as the dream state. In a sense, it's conscious dreaming.
Yeah.
Because your unconscious speaks to you in images. So in heart, we're always looking at images.
Mhm.
The mind thinks linear. It's totally logical.
Mhm.
That's here. That part of you is your computer.
Mhm.
It's not here to give you wisdom. It gives you knowledge. There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Mhm.
Knowledge is what you've learned, what you've experienced. Wisdom is not on this. It comes from above. I had no way of knowing heart therapy. It came through me intuitively.
Mhm.
All your geniuses, art and music and Einstein, they just got quiet and they heard it or saw it or just got the information. That's wisdom.
Oh, absolutely.
So how long is the self-mastery program? And
Well, you can sign up for 6 weeks. You can take it one session at a time, but if you want a discount, You can sign up for 6 weeks or 12 weeks and you get a bigger discount. And you get my set books and CDs. And we just take one session at a time. It's a personal training with me. And it's such a joy to share. I have people thanking me so much because instead of getting scared and running to the doctor, well, if you need the doctor, you want to go to the doctor. She tunes in now and she knows what to do and calms herself down. And, you know, we're going to get stressed. I mean, I'm human. I get stressed, which is fear. By the way, the basis of heart is fear is false evidence appearing real, FEAR. And we make decisions on our experiences. And so those decisions run us. And heart focuses on finding those negative decisions, and we clear it in a cellular level, with your eyes closed, and change it to a positive, and people start breathing and feeling lighter instantly.
One of my favorite parts of heart is the hot air balloon technique. That is one of the coolest things ever. And I use that with clients and they love it. They love it. You might talk a little bit about what that is, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I discovered when my first client, I said, what do you want in your life? She says, I want my boyfriend to ask me to marry him. I said, okay, close your eyes. Imagine he's asking you to marry you. How do you feel? Terrified. I go, this is interesting. I didn't learn this in school. And I started to see it in every client. I want a promotion, but then I'm afraid I'll be like my dad. I won't have time for myself or my family. And I started, my first book in 85 was Free to Fly, Dare to Be a Success, on all these case studies. So I developed processes to help people get in touch. So for example, if your goal is to be spiritual, then you imagine that you're in an air balloon on the ground in the basket. And I say, when it goes up automatically, you reach your goal. And look down, how many ropes are down, holding you down? And those are the fears. And all I say is, well, be aware of one of the fears one rope represents. And they tell me. See, once you tap in, the unconscious gives you the answers. And we heal that. And then they come back. And how many ropes? Oh, there's one less. Until at one point, I say, where are you? Up in the air. Have a great trip. I love saying that.
And boy, it feels so great. You're just flying out there and
flying above.
So nice.
Don't you find it interesting how when you set something like that up, that the subconscious metaphorically reveals everything you need to know, and you were consciously unaware of what the subconscious holds? You know, as I'm hearing you speak, it's amazing how when I'm teaching, how many of the metaphoric ways of stories that you tell as what I teach people who need to change their perceptions of themselves.
Yeah, unconscious speaks to you in images, and I don't do talk therapy. New clients have 5 minutes to share, and I say, okay, close your eyes and see clearly. And we go inside, and the rest of the hour we're doing healing, and they transform in 1 hour. Exactly. One of my favorite things I do, usually in the first session, I say, close your eyes. And if you had a wall protecting you from getting hurt, what would it look like? And they are shocked to see bricks up to the sky, or concrete or wood, but most of it, some of even were iron. And the wall is symbolic of a wounded heart. And they wonder why they're struggling in relationships and in self-esteem. So I say, go back to the time you built the wall to survive. See, we're survivors. So I believe we decided we're going to live, so we better just put the wall up. And so I take them back there and we do a healing. You have to go back there. You can't do it from here. You've got to be that little girl or boy. And most of them are 5 or under. We heal the scene in the heart process, and then they come back and their wall starts dropping. And their self-esteem goes up, and their relationships improve, their health improves. I have a chiropractor referring patients to me now, and they were in a lot of physical pain, and the chiropractor knew they were stuck emotionally. And after one session, she went back to chiropractic. She had an amazing shift.
Yeah.
It's also important to know that the mind-body connection,
Yeah.
everything you feel will go into your body.
Yeah.
So when any negative thought, your body physically constricts,
Right.
and that causes disease because it can't get the nutrients and the oxygen it needs to be
Exactly.
healthy.
Yeah.
And when you get into a love space, your body physically expands. And that's how I rejuvenated, because I was in a lot of fear. I was in a lot of stress. And my body broke down and I had to heal myself. And that's what I did. I kept shifting from fear into love. My tools were great. They worked for me too.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting how many healers have to go through a quote, a dark night of the soul, in order to get to a place where they can really embody the teaching that wants to move through them. It's really a gift when you're going through that. I was talking to a
Yes, I have numerous people like that, including me. I believe that we have fear of success. See, I know how powerful I am, but I was scared of my power because of past lives. When we were killed, tortured, abused, or rejected for being who we were. But you know what? We also abused our power. So we have karma. I work with people on clearing their karma. But when they abused and hurt people who were healers, and the results are phenomenal.
And it's so great because it takes all of the energy off of being a victim when you look at who you've been, what occurred. It takes all the energy out of being a victim. When you go back and take a look at where you've been, what you've been playing in, and you know where your abuses were, etc., and what was done to you, blah blah blah. You get the whole picture of things, and then it's not being done to you anymore.
Oh, yes, it's horrible feeling like a victim. And I always tell people there's no victim, there's only volunteers. And they look at me like I'm crazy. But I believe they came in and volunteered, as I did, to hide and clear our karma, because I went through a lot dark periods too. And then we are here as light workers. Light workers, you know how I find out if you're a light worker? I say to clients, do you want to make a difference? Yes. You're a light worker. What's a light worker? You're here to make a difference. And they get a kick out of that and shine your light. But we also, I was told by my guides that I had to go through the human drama. So I have so much compassion to people, for people who are in the pain. Now, I don't have to experience everything they've experienced, but I've been through my own hell and came out of it. So I can have so much compassion.
And speaking of hell and heaven, can you help us by, you know, I love what you always say at the end of the whole thing about living, how do you say living peace? Love yourself to peace. Yeah. So here we are, we're 2 days before the big event, which is going to decide a lot of things on this level. How can you give us something that we can go to so we remain in peace as much as we can while this is all going on?
Well, the power of visualization and what you say is extreme, because wherever thought is, energy flows. And this is how I manifest too. I always say, thank you, God and angels, for the perfect clients. And I wait for the phone to ring. Well, that visualizing it the way you want it to be, and after, and just saying, I'm grateful. Thank you, God and angels. And that's what I'm doing for the perfect outcome, for peace on earth, for healing, and for democracy. And so focus only on what you want, never what you don't want. Say what you want, never what you don't want, because you'll just get what you don't want.
And I love your thing about win-win, always looking for a win-win. That's
all I'm interested in, because I learned if it's not a win-win, it's a lose-lose, because if I don't win, might try to get back at the other person. So I work with couples, and I work very quickly with everyone, including couples. They come to me after 3 years of therapy, and I still have to give them the basics, how to communicate,
right,
how to create win-win solutions, and how to solve problems.
I know you're working with animals now too, doing healing with animals.
I open up to my intuition, and I've never taken classes in this. I just realized I read people across the world, and I send healing to right through the phone. And I realized I can do the same with animals. I talk to them, and I talk to them just like I'm talking to you.
Of course.
And not long ago, this woman came to me who was desperate because the vet was going to cut the dog's thigh off. And she came to me, referred to me, and I worked with the dog telepathically for about 10 minutes, about 5 different times. I did energy work. I talked to him. The dog's walking.
It's so powerful.
Helene, let me ask you, how does someone reach you?
They can go on my website. It's HeleneRothschild.com.
You have a wonderful website. It's very easy and fun to move around on at
And
www.
there's so much free stuff on there. There's free videos, there's articles, there's poems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of free stuff. And if you join my free newsletter, you get 2 free gifts. And I just love helping people. That's what I'm here. You know, I believe we all have, the light workers have dharmas, meaning there's a reason we're here. We're here to share our gifts, whatever they are.
That's right.
And I feel so alive at 80, and just like I'm getting warmed up because I'm sharing my gifts. And I'm so grateful for the honor and privilege to serve people and to be on this wonderful video. Thank you so much.
We're so grateful.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming on and sharing with us. It's wonderful.
It really is. I feel so blessed. Thank you so much, Helene.
And bless both of you.
We'll see you soon. Take care.
Blessings. Namaste.
Namaste.